Excellent. So good evening and welcome to our Tuesday Hangout. We do this every Tuesday, and it is a joy to be here. My name is Chasubire, and this is the African MSME Collective Tuesday meeting. Some of my people in this room who are here every Tuesday like calling it Tuesday with Chasubire, but we are the African MSME Collective, and we are here to help you build for sustainability. So karibuni sana. As we start, let me ask, if your week was a what? Was an animal, what would it be? As we start, let us just do some activities around connecting for the day. If your week was an animal, what would it be and why? If your week was an animal, what would it be and why? Our week starts on Tuesday, so Tuesday to Tuesday. If your week was an animal, what would it be and why? I'm looking for some comments in the chat. Let me start. If my week was an animal, what would it be? It would be a giraffe. Very graceful, very elegant, but it's been long. It's been so long. But it's been a good week. We have accomplished quite a few things that have been on our cards for a while. That's why it's been long. So if your week was an animal, what would it be and why? I'm waiting for some responses. We are let me have at least 5 responses. If your week was an animal, what would it be and why? I'm looking out for responses. Is that a very hard question? A tiger, ooh, determined. I like that. You've had a very determined week. You have chased after your dreams, all right? Some more? Some more? African bull, heavy and strong. I like that. I like that. So we have giraffe, we have bull, ox, been doing a lot of heavy duty work. Excellent. Wow. Here I was thinking it was difficult. Kumbe people were typing, okay? 2 more people. If your week was an animal, what would it be and why? A monkey. Swinging from one KPI and dream with determination. I figure you're swimming from one to another. All right, one more, one more. So we have a giraffe, we have a tiger, we have an African bull, we have the ox, we have the monkey. Oh my, I like that one. Eagle, because you're soaring. Sometimes these reflections that we do actually they're not just fun, they allow us to think through our days and enjoy what we find. So we have been in the series of Be Where It Matters, and that's why I'm asking what your week has been. We talked about being found and showing up, and in that particular session, we talked about Google My Business and the way we can locate ourselves online to be able to collect reviews. Remember in the last series, we talked about understanding our customers and getting them to actually give us personal, real testimonials. Last week, we talked about where it matters, be where it matters, and we looked at a regional view in terms of across the region. We did Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, South Africa, and we looked at in those particular localities, what generally does the online market say, what platforms to go for. And we saw that different regions have different focuses, but the general was that for professionals, we had LinkedIn, and then we had WhatsApp for communication, and we had Instagram and TikTok for connection and things like that. So what we actually found is that depending on where we are, 1 or 2 things would possibly be different, but we have some generalities. Now, today we're talking about be understood, and the thing is to be clear fast. All right. So let's jump into the conversation. Last week, this is where we left off. We said list the targets you're currently using. Where is your customer actually paying attention? Which platforms are you forcing that aren't working? Are you visible in the right place or just active everywhere? And what we are trying to do is focus. There's a thing that I came across a couple of months ago called conscious narrowing, which means we look clearly at what we're in and then deliberately make a move to reduce to what we must do, number one, but what has the greatest impact. So that's why the last question, what should change, what would change if you focused on one platform? And I hope we went out and we did this assignment. And I would like to see in the chat, what did you learn about yourself? Are you in the right place or have you made tweaks in the last 7 days? So please put that in the chat as we go along, and I will be looking at the comments. So our conversation is Be Understood today, which is creating simple visual content. And when we say simple visual, we want to ensure that you see and you understand. If I'm your customer, I must see and I understand. If you are my customer, you must see and understand. And we'll do a heavy focus on visuals today. But think about the last few posts you saw today. Which ones stood out? All right. Which one do you remember? And which ones did you skip? And I'd like to hear from some of us. What post did you stop on? I remember there's a post that T-Bags shared. T-Bags, you shared a post with me about having lived through multiple centuries. Could you share that visual, what you saw on that particular post that made you stop and make me stop? Ah. It was a very interesting visual about some people, some of us who were born here. T-Bags, do you remember that? Can you find the post?
Yes, let me find it.
Excellent. As the rest of us, as she finds it, which was of the last few posts you looked at, which ones did you understand immediately, remember, or skip? Just think about one, and you can either raise your hand so that we can see you, or you can just put it in the chat. When you find it, let me know, and we will have that conversation. All right. So why do we say this? Because we are talking about being memorable to our customers. So the first test is whether we ourselves are actually seeing things that are memorable. And our reality is clarity wins attention, confusion loses it. So what we're trying to ensure is that every time we put something up, there is that recognition that people know what they see. When you look at our posters now, as opposed to when we started, our posters were a lot heavier in content. Now we have a lot more white space or just blank space. Why? We have since learned that the more the blank space you have, it means you have to be clearer. So we're going for shorter, clearer titles, simple taglines. And on most of our posts now, we used to have this long explanation of what we're doing. That has gone to the caption, and even our captions have shortened because we're responding to feedback from our market. T-Bags, have you found it?
Yes, I'm just about to share it. Sorry, I was looking for it.
That's okay. Over to you.
Let me see.
The front end. And then one thing I threw this in the REST API. It's not something.
We are here. Yes, Dorothy.
You
want to share with us?
But I hear a lot of folks asking about, hey, I want to share a database from one to another.
I've shared the picture on the chat.
You've put it in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's all jump into the chat and see. And it says, let's look at that. If you were born, okay, please read it for us, T-Bugs. Let me actually let you finish your assignment.
Okay. You were born in the 70s, raised in the 80s, and made it to 2026. So it means you have lived in 5 different decades, 2 centuries, 2 millenniums, and you're still in your 50s.
How many of us fall in that category? Born in the 70s, raised in the 80s, and made it to 2026. You know, when we were crossing into the 2000s, we all expected computer to stop working. We expected mayhem. I'll never forget that night. So, to put this in context, we saved every document we had so that at the end of the day, if the system crashes, you still had it. Why did that stop us? Because it applies to us. It applies to us. Was the 2 people in the room at that point, and I was sitting with her. All this applies to us. We've lived in the 20th and the 21st century. We have lived across 5 different decades, and we have seen a lot. And yet, we're still alive and kicking and enjoying life. So this is the kind of thing I want you to resonate with. Have you put up something that stopped you? Have you seen something that stopped you? Why did it stop you? A post by a friend, 2 sentences, brief and yet profound. So when you look at the things that have stopped you, are you able to create the same that will stop others in their tracks? And that's why we're looking at what has stopped you before. All right, so let's jump into it. So you can be found, you can be in the right place, but do people understand you quickly or do they move on? The reality we live in this generation is that attention is short, decisions are fast. So if you do not capture attention, then you're in trouble. Remember, one of the rules of thumb about video content, you have the first 3 to 5 seconds to grab. So that's why we always start with a hook. Remember when we talked about the USP, we start with a hook because you grab attention in the first 3 to 5 seconds, and then people stay online. It's maybe about 15 seconds, but many by second 4, they're off. So what do you want to do? You want to be using or posting on a format of an online platform that shows you how long people watch, and TikTok is fantastic for that. When you're using TikTok and you go to your post analytics, it tells you what percentage of people watch the full length, what the average watch time is. And then it also shows you how many minutes of watch time you have. All right. You want platforms that give you analytics. So remember, we talked about turning all our business platforms into professional business profiles or pages, because that gives you back-end analytics. That will tell you what people are scanning through, what people are looking at, so that you can create more of that. So we need to be looking at our analytics. Your content does not have minutes. Like I said, it has seconds, 3 to 5. So if your visibility is not clear, you will not convert. So what we're looking at today is making your message easy to understand at a glance. At a glance. Have you seen these AI generated posters? Some have too many colors. Okay, my view, we can do better. And today we saw one again for somebody's business. I didn't save it. That was clearly AI generated, but it has a cleaner back end. What's the difference? The person who generated that image gave the AI tool proper prompts. There is a wave at which we're just saying develop an image for chua. We're borrowing people's prompts. We're not customizing to ourselves. So now it's beginning to get to the place where this one just looks like that one, which looks like that one. So now we're beginning to bypass AI generated imagery because they're not easy to understand at a glance. So many businesses show up by posting consistently but not reaching the right people, are active but not effective. And what we're looking for beyond visibility is alignment. If you're not where your customer is paying attention and your work does not attract their attention, you do not gain traction. And you see, traction is a critical thing we need, because traction is what converts to sales. People remember us. People are like, those guys. I'll give an example, offline example. I went for an event on March 17th. I sat next to a lady who was she's in farming, but her other business is digital marketing. So this morning I was thinking about doing some stuff, and I sat and I asked myself, who was it? What was her name? And I went back to the date of invite to just confirm when the date of the event was, because we chatted that date. And then I went and I scrolled through and I found her, and we could have the conversation. Why did I remember her? Because she told me a powerful story of some work they've done. Your visuals should be able to do that. You remember what the ad was about, whose post it was. You remember where it came from, what they said, and that's how you connect with them. So what we must understand, this is not, okay, 1 second. This is not about complex design, expensive tools, and perfection or aesthetics alone. That's not what we're pushing. We're looking at a practical way to make your content clear and effective. We're focusing on simplicity and instant communication, as well as a system you can repeat consistently without overthinking. One of the big things we learn to do is we learn to create frameworks and templates so that when we cannot do it, we can pass the work to somebody else. Or when we ask somebody to do the work, we have a framework of evaluation, but this is built based on what our customers have said. So let's make it clear. Clarity is immediate. If it is clear, people understand it. People decide in seconds whether to engage or to disengage. And if they have to think too hard, they're gone. So when we're thinking about the content we're putting out, we are not saying things like, welcome to our page, we offer high quality services in this industry. It would be, need a logo that makes your business stand out. We design clean, clear, professional logos in 3 days. Instead of saying we offer high quality design services that will get you everything you want in one place. What is everything I want? So if I'm pitching it for my logo design, it will be just logo. If I'm pitching you digital marketing, it would be need digital marketing to make your business stand out. We design clear campaigns that will get you results in 72 hours. Could be something like that. So you have to be clear, because people don't have a lot of time. Are we encouraging the lack of focus? No, we are adjusting to the realities in the market. So clarity must be immediate. Secondly, it's one message at a time. You see, trying to say everything weakens your message. One clear idea is more powerful than 5 competing ones. So whatever the main idea of that piece of content is, add the details that are relevant to it. Instead of new arrivals, that could be a thing, but new arrivals of what? When you're bringing in dresses, what style? Are they formal? Are they for work? Are they casual? So if you said new Ankara dresses at 3,500, limited stock, DM to reserve. That I can tell it's Ankara. I don't like Ankara. So I can move. I can proceed and leave you with your space for the people who like Ankara. Now, in real life, I love Ankara. Okay? So if I saw this, I would stop and look. But the price would then help me decide, do I need to stay? Is that within my price point? Or do I have a plug who can get me a better price point? And limited stock means I won't look like the whole of Nairobi. We won't have Kenya uniform. So I'm likely to go there, all right? And then there is a way for me to get to that thing. So a call to action is always super critical. The third thing we're looking at is visual support meaning. So design is not decoration. It should guide the eye to the core of the message and help you grasp it easier. That's what we are looking for. Imagine a plate of biryani on a poster that says yummy. Yeah, the food does look yummy. However, what is it? Okay. I would know what biryani looks like, but does everybody know? Or will it look like rice with some thick, funny stew on top of it, right? So if you say fresh chicken biryani, ready today, order before 4 p.m. for delivery, with a beautiful plate of biryani and a simple background behind it, that tells me if I want biryani and it is fresh and I want it today, I have time to, I can look at my watch and say it is 3:30, I still have time to order. And you know this place, even if I call you at 3:55, it is still order today. All right? So how are you doing it? Is your design complementing your message? That's why I mentioned some of the AI photos we have, because you have to really, really read and really expand. I don't know if you're like me. I end up expanding to see what the details are here, because to fill everything on the poster, some details are very, very small. So visual support meaning. Additionally, simplicity helps us scale. So if your content is simple, you can create it consistently, and complexity slows you down. Have you gone to like maybe Instagram and seen a carousel where the back color is just like a shade of white with a very specific text and large bold headline, smaller text. And as you keep going, the 6-7 posts on that carousel is a collection of posts. They look similar. Then you go to that page and you find the format remains standard. What they shift is the background, because they have found a template that works. Another way to do it is when I was doing the founder's guide to Lent, found a template, designed the template and just put everything on the template. So if you looked at my profile and you saw the light gray with blue text and a cross in a circle at the top, you knew that was the Lent guide. Because at the same time, I was doing a countdown celebration set, which had a completely different template. So if you went to my feed, you knew which one was the Lent guide and which one was the countdown. What happened is that people who didn't want the countdown could move. They could skip. And I got a lot of feedback on the Lent text, like, could you just put devotionals or prayer points together for us as entrepreneurs? So instead of a long paragraph, it is a simple question. And here the question is: struggling to get clients? I help you clarify your offer and attract paying customers. So can you imagine if this was the post of a coach on LinkedIn? This is very easy to tell you. If you're not the one struggling to get clients, please keep moving. But when I look at it, struggling to get clients, I can remember Dorothy told me the other day that she's having a challenge getting clients. So I can easily forward it. So clarity allows me to see, identify who needs and pass it on. I have helped your sales. So it's the same thing I would hope you would do, that when you would see our posters, you look at the topic, not for me, but can pass on to somebody else. All right? And what happens, because your visuals are consistent, people begin to recognize you before they read your content. For instance, the joke we have with a couple of our friends, when they see a certain post go up in blue, they always check whether it is us, especially if they see it on a Monday or a Tuesday. Why? We have chosen a consistent range of shades of blue. We have kind of a consistent pattern, and it's always my face, my headshot, and Joe's on it. All right. So they know. So what are we doing? Instead of doing different unrelated styles for every post, we have consistent colors. And when we're doing certain sets of things, they have the same layout and tone. So for instance, we could be doing Motivation Monday, have a simple template for that. We can do Trusting Tuesday, have a separate template for that. And then we're doing, like, maybe we're doing Focused, like a 5-day thing, a 10-day cycle. Then those ones have their own designs, but there is a similarity and a grounding thing. It could be your colors, it could be the tone of your content, it could be the placement of certain features or your logo. But what you do, you begin to develop consistency to be recognized. Example of that is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's posts usually have a red background, happy people, more often than not young or families together. They have a style. KCB has the lion. They have used the lion for a long time. Okay, when Equity was running the Mimi Member campaign, their logo looked like a house because it was focusing on giving us the feel not only of being members, but of being family. So when you have recognition, there is a lot more trust because you have reliably been the same. Now, I'm not asking that everything always looks identical, but can you have templates that you use for different things? That also simplifies some of your work. There is a platform I'm part of, a group I'm part of, and their template is rich colors in the background, and they pick them off their logo. So one of their convening partners has the rainbow colors on their logo. So they pick the richest and the darkest, but their logo is, and their corporate color is brown, orange, and white. So the background is generally a very deep brown, and then the orange and white go into the text, but they have a similar way of kind of doing layout and how they put their text and where they put what. So it's recognizable when it is networking events. When it's a conference, the conference is recognizable, but they change the color for the conference and they change the motif. So the motif they use every day will be different for the conference. And what you find now as a community, we kind of can tell that post, whether it is on IG or it's on LinkedIn, we're like, Inietu, and we stop and we look and we engage. So what we're looking to be is recognizable, and we're also looking to ensure that we are dealing with our customers where they want, and we're giving them what they've asked us to give them. All right. So practical steps we can take. The 5-second rule. If someone sees your content for 5 seconds, do they know what it's about? And do they know if it is for them? So you test your content based on that rule. If it is not, simplify. Remember, it takes us 3 to 5 seconds to decide whether we stay. Think about yourself when you're scrolling through the reels on whichever platform you use. On Facebook, what makes you stop? All right. That's how your customers are thinking. On TikTok, what makes you stop? On LinkedIn, as you read articles, what makes you stop? I now find that the things that make me stop on different platforms are different because I'm on different platforms for different reasons. All right. So think like your client and ask yourself, in 5 seconds, will this stop them? Send them to them and ask them, how long did it take you to realize what we're saying? Remember, we said our customer is our best evaluator. All right. So the simple content framework I like to use is, before creating, ask yourself, what is the message? Prep before. What is the message? Who is it for? What action do I want them to take? Because we have to have a call to action. All our posters say register. Some say call if it's an ad. All right. Some say sign up, but there has to be a call to action. Buy now, send a message. You have to have a call to action. So figure out what do you want to say, who is it for, and what is your call to action. When you know what that is, you can actively then ensure that your content is relevant. All right? Because what you're trying to do is to ensure that they respond to you. Okay? So that's what we're trying to do. Make sure that our customers have a reason to come back and that they are able to clearly understand what we put out for them. All right? Clearly understand what we put out for them. The next thing we want to look at is a visual clarity checklist. All right. If possible, one strong headline. You want people to see clearly what you want them to understand. So one strong headline, minimal text, high contrast, clean layout, relevant visual, clear contact information, and a clear call to action. So we are looking at things like minimal text. So you don't want too many words around the content you're putting. You want to be able to say, okay, I have a weird thing on my screen. Okay. You want, like you see the poster we have, be seen, be understood, all right? And then underneath it is a very small tagline for the whole month. High contrast, so you can have two contrasting colors, or you make sure that if your background is solid, your text stands out. Clean layout means leave some white space or some blank space around, all right? Relevant visual, what would make them connect with the post you put up and stay on point? Oops, sorry. Okay. And clear contact information. At the bottom of the poster or somewhere, there's a poster one day we put it along the side going upward. Have a way for whoever is seeing your content to contact you. If it's not a poster, maybe you can put it in your caption. But there has to be a call to action. You can have, if it's an event that where you're doing ticket sales, your call to action could be buy now. So this checklist helps you ensure that what you put out will send your customers to you. Some common types that work is problem to solution. Remember, we asked if you're struggling to get customers, I help you clarify your offer. The other one could be before, after. We've seen this on some ads for, like I've seen it on fumigation company ads, or a tip. So this is a tip and the action we want you to take. A testimonial for proof, or a simple explanation, whichever format it is you're taking, or whichever format your customers have said they want. That is the thing you go for. Formats that work often, a single photo. So depending on your site, a single photo may just be the thing, and you caption it and you go. Or a carousel. A carousel is a collection of photos. I know currently on TikTok, this is what they're pushing. You still have a good views on videos, and videos are still going, but there is a new wave of using carousels. And people are using carousels interestingly. Some are text, and I find the most interesting ones is it's me behind, but everything of all the text is right over me, and it's grabbing attention because people are stopping to read. So you could have a video as a reel. A reel is short up to maybe 3 minutes, or you could have 10 minutes on the other sides, or you could have a full-length video. Like these, when we do these sessions, the full-length video ends up on YouTube, all right? So we can send people to YouTube. Yesterday, I was teaching, we're talking about legacy. I was speaking at an event, and the full-length video is already up. Or you could have short text with pictures. Let's say you're putting something on LinkedIn and you want to put out some photos. You went for an event, you do some reflections, put a short text. LinkedIn allows you, I think, 300 words on a text like that, and 4 or 5 pictures. All the pictures, you tag the people in them and you proceed. Or it could be a long form article with pictures inside. So you have your picture as your header and then pictures inside. Or you could also do long form writing on Facebook. Nowadays on TikTok, you see a lot more of it, and you can do that on Instagram. So these are formats that work. Why do they work? Because they're audience specific, and they're also platform specific. So when you're looking at these things, what you want to be doing is ensuring you do what we talked about last month, which is to know your customer so intimately. You have their avatar, you know what they like, what format they like, what platform, what length, what frequency. Then you meet them at that level. All right? What are things we commonly do that are mistakes? Sometimes we say too much in one post, so it becomes clunky. Now, if your audience just likes to see videos and then you're putting for them one picture with long text, you've already created for the wrong audience. So if you say too much in one post, if you are designing without clear thought of what must be in, If you're overloading visuals with text, or you're inconsistent, or you have no clear call to action, those are things we commonly make mistakes about. Why is it important to course correct about that? Because what we want to do is we want to connect with our audience at their point of interest and point of pain to convert them to buy from us. Remember, we solve problems, or we answer pain points that people are in need of a solution and are willing and able to pay for it. So if you have talked to them and you're not answering them, then these are some of the things that would be causing us not to have the right content out there. Another key one is ignoring information that you get from your audience. If they tell you they don't want reels and you're insisting because your platform says you must do reels, then you are already losing them. Could you be hopefully converting others? Yes, but there's no guarantee in the short term you have put it up. It might be a much longer term conversation. All right. So here are some things I want us to do, and these are actions I want us to quickly take. Open your platforms. Let everybody go to pick a platform. If you're on all 26 platforms, pick one platform. And then review your most recent posts. So let me also do it as we go. So our most recent post is something we put up on AMC yesterday on LinkedIn. All right, so look at your most recent post. Identify the core message. What is it really about? So you look at your post. I hope we're together. If we're together, let me put a CRYY in the comment section. Kama tuko pamoja, let me see YYs popping up in the chat. Excellent, excellent. So identify the core message. What was it about? And then look at the engagement on that particular post. Did people get it? Did no one get it? And then ask yourself, do I need to simplify? And if I need to simplify, what do I need to simplify? Do I need to reduce the text, strengthen the headline, remove anything unnecessary? And then rewrite it if you must, okay? Simple application. Just go back. If that one is okay, check and see on your feed if there are things that you need to work on. We need to do this audit quite often as we assess our markets. Remember, our markets shift and change. Did the people you wanted to see it? Did the people you tagged respond? Those are the things you're looking at. And then if you can reach out to one or two of them and ask them, what made you respond? Instant or immediate or often feedback is critical. Usually when somebody likes, which is an engagement, and comes and comments, you know that your message has resonated. Even if people just react to it, so they're using all the reaction buttons, it's not just likes they're putting up, then you can see there is resonance for what you're putting up. All right? If we're done with that, please put a DD in the chat for done. If you're not done reviewing, you can give it like a minute or so. Excellent, excellent. So I can see some of us are done. I'd like to hear what we're finding. Who wants to speak? You can just raise your hand and you can share with us what you have found. Anybody who wants to share what they have found on their personal site review? Excellent. I can see the DDs coming in. Anybody who wants to share what they found? All right. You could also share it in the chat and I will pick. I need to reduce text. All right. Excellent. So somebody has picked simplify, reduce text. One of the things I want you to understand is there is no harm in it not being perfect because we are not really perfect, right? The thing is progress, not perfection. That's what we're looking for. Now, many of us, our upbringing tells us we must be perfect, so we feel that pressure to be perfect, but that shouldn't be the case. We need to be getting closer and closer to what the customer wants. And remember, our audience shifts and changes. So if you are still using the same avatar of 3 years ago, your audience has changed. You don't have the same set of people. They could be the same set of people, but their life circumstances have caused them to evolve. So in that sense, they are no longer the same set of people. I laugh because the person I was buying at products a year ago is not the same person I am today. I am more settled in certain products. I have discontinued others. I have discovered new ones, tested and not gone back, or I am aspiring to get some of them. So if I am not the same as an individual, I don't quite expect my audience to be the same. Even in this room, there's a set of people who used to be here last year. By virtue of their growth, their responsibilities have changed. So they catch up now on the online video, the YouTube video, as opposed to being in class. So I can say to myself, oh, my audience is not growing, or realize through conversations with them that we have facilitated their growth, and now their work has shifted, their assignments have changed, and they cannot be here, but they're still part of the community. So if there's all that change going on in our community, I expect it also to be part of what our audience is doing online. So one of the things you need to do after your review is determine one message you will communicate clearly, one content type you will focus on, and one thing you will simplify. Like you saw in the comment section, somebody said, I need to reduce text. Why is this important? Because we need to get our content better. All right. So one message you will communicate clearly. So this comes back very often to us having a clear USP. If your USP and your value proposition are clear and you have a very good elevator pitch, then you have one message that you communicate. So if our role is to support you to build a sustainable business, every time you meet us, sustainability includes legacy planning, it includes intergenerational transfers, it includes proper marketing structures, it includes good finances. So we are doing one thing and then there are the components of that. All right. It includes a good team. It includes you paying yourself, right? So everything we talk about will be around you building a legacy business, and then we will give you the individual things that you need to build. But we are talking about helping founders start and scale sustainably all the time. So even when you come into these conversations, that's what we're doing for you. Our role is to ensure that we have provided all the information you need in a simple format so that you can live here and implement at least one thing. At least one. All right? So, as we come to a close, I would like to ask for a pause and just give you a moment or two to think about what is one thing you can apply from here tomorrow. What is one thing you can apply tomorrow and write it down? If you're a person of a to-do list, add it to your to-do list. And I'd like to see some sharing of one thing we can do starting tomorrow. I see I'm on my DVR Instagram. I would like to do a new account and start again. What are your thoughts? Use the old stale one or start again? You already want to start again. So if I tell you to use the old stale one, Sometimes the best thing to do is delete the past and start afresh, especially because your product has evolved since you started that account. And it sounds to me, I could be wrong, you could tell me, you could correct me. You probably had it was less, you had less clarity. Let's put it that way. And so if you had less clarity, then yes, please go ahead and start again. Let's have that conversation. Let's have that conversation. Give me 1 sec. I'm trying to pull something up. It was a mishmash. Okay. So in the fact that you have now found clarity, you could actually start again and ensure that then you are clear about your purpose from the get-go. So yes. But let me ask you, what would you, for those of us who have old accounts, what would you do? Would you actually start again, or would you try and clean it up? I have tried it with one of my accounts, and it's a lot of clunky work because I have to go through post by post and delete it. And I'm like, yo, ni kazi mingi. Sorry, that's for my internationals. That kazi mingi means a lot of work. Sometimes what you're actually doing is you're going back to make it right. And when there's one particular account when I looked at, there was no way I could make it right. So I deleted. Even the people who had followed me, I looked at it. And that's the other thing you need to look at. Who is following you? Are they your target audience? Will they gain value? Because again, your followers have the people who follow you, the people who comment on your page have an influence of what the algorithm sends you. So if it is not the right demographic, absolutely uninstall, delete it. It will take 30 days to delete. But even if it takes 30 days to delete, what you want to do is ensure that you are actually able to connect with the people you're looking for where they are today. I hope that is helpful, not just to you, but to everyone. I actually had multiple Facebook accounts. This week I deleted one because I'm like, it doesn't make sense. So the one that is true to the brand is the one I kept, and it has already been upgraded to a professional page. So then I can keep it. The other one that I was trying to build was, so I recently did an ad and I allowed Facebook to pick the audience. Yeah, the followers it gave me, I was like, I don't want. So it's things like that that would make you look at your back end. All right. Any other reflections? Any other questions before we close? Any other reflection before we close? Okay, please feel free to put it in the chat if something comes to mind as we proceed. I look at that a lot. So really what we must be looking at is clarity turns visibility into understanding. It's one thing to be visible, it's another to be understood by the people you need to convert. So when people understand quickly, they act because they trust you. All right. So you have to be thinking about these things. Even if you're going to subcontract somebody to do your digital marketing, do they have a full understanding of your brand? Do they understand your customer? Do they understand your customer preferences? Are they going to do it like you? All right. You will not find big brands just giving anybody their online work because they need to ensure that the person understands and they deliver the same quality product. Sometimes, actually very often, when you do less and say it clearly and you repeat it consistently, you get the visibility you need. So you need to be known to talk about one thing or a set of connected things in one particular direction. You do not see Coca-Cola talking about medical today and then science tomorrow. They are very focused. So they talk about refreshment. They don't just talk about the soda because the soda is only one perspective. They have water, they have soda, they have juice, right? And because they are aware that climate change affects their business, they are very keen on water. That's how they've got water purification plants. But they're also very keen about the right source of fruit. So they support farmers who provide them the fruit in their different production localities. So when you look at everything they're talking about, it's in the ecosystem of refreshment and the things that link to it. So they're in water and sanitation and they're in sustainable farming. They support because they like to control the quality of their fruit, so they have outgrowers. Just like a sugar factory, Kachira Sugar Factory in Uganda have their selected outgrowers who they know how they take care of their farms. The sugarcane factory monitors their outgrowers, and they're the ones who come and say it is now ready for harvest, so bring it to us. What are they doing? They are controlling the quality of sugar cane that gets to them so that they can do a proper valuable sugar. So you influence the production side to maximize the quality of your product. And sometimes I remember there would be days that come to the villages early and say your farm is ready, even knowing that the growing cycle is 18 months, but because somebody has taken care of their farm and their sugarcane is bigger and better, they will pick it. And then they would guarantee payment. There was a part payment when you did soon after you delivered, and then there was a payment later in the cycle. So there was certainty. So if people like that are going to do certainty, even we as small businesses have to be certain about how we move from being seen to be understood and chosen, which is through clarity. Because when you add clarity to visibility, you put understanding in the mix and people buy from you. So what must we do at the very, very end? We must understand that most content is ignored because it's unclear or it is not valuable to the person. So we have to make clarity a decision that we make at the C-suite level. Now, if you're running your own business, you are C-suite because you're the CEO, founder CEO, all right? So what you say and what you leave out impacts the decision people will make. So what you simplify today is what your customer will understand. No complexities, minimum jargon, but a tone and a set of words that your audience can understand. So your visuals, for those who are wondering how to get good quality visuals, if you're looking for stock images, get stock images from sites that have royalty-free images. All right, get images from sites that have royalty-free images. If you use the major design tools and design apps, many of them, the paid versions, get you access to all these free stock images that you can use. Our reality is we must be understood clearly by our clients before they actually come and buy from us. So if we're together until there, let me see a YY in the chat. Let me see a YY in the chat, and I'm just checking whether I've answered all the questions. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Great. So what do we have beyond today? Every time we come into this space, we would like to hear from you and hear your feedback. What do you want to learn? What topics do you want us to cover? And we will weave them into what we have planned already for the year. We will adjust. So please feel free to send us some feedback. A link will be dropped into the chat that you can use for feedback. All right. Why is feedback important? Feedback has allowed us to customize. It also lets us know who to bring in when we do traction labs, when we bring in external speakers, because that enables us to identify where our pain points are. So feel free to give us feedback. We also have a partnership with the Nairobi Startup Summit, and the summit is coming up in May. And as partners, we're putting it out in all our spaces. If you're in the community, we'll also drop the link there, but the link is in the chat. I believe, will be options for different things. It's for SME lead founders, it's for CEOs, CMOs, CTOs, CFOs, investors, and ecosystem builders. And what we want to do for those 2 days around the table is really figure out how do we scale innovation and how do we invest in and produce inclusive growth. Many sectors have said, oh, we are not being touched, we are not being favored, we've been ignored. So we want to have a lot of these conversations that allow us as ecosystem builders and partners in the ecosystem to grow. So if you are an SME founder or any of those other C-suite activities, or if you have teams who want to understand the ecosystem, please ensure that you sign up for this particular summit. We did the summit last year, and the learnings that it's a mix of breakout rooms. We have exhibitors. By the end of it, you learn so much, and then you pick what you need to apply. Finally, we have a community of transformational leaders, and in there we share opportunities like the summit, as well as other opportunities and conversations. And our role is really to be catalysts of transformation. That's it. Excuse me. If you can grow based on the conversations in the community, we're good. Why? We firmly believe that when we inspire leaders to achieve their full potential, then we can shift the trajectory of the African continent. We are the youngest, and we have all the remaining reserves of all resources. So can you imagine if each of us is able to harness and hone their corner, influence another founder to do the same, how much we would grow? My joy is to see founders grow and be effective in their spaces. So this is why we're there, to help you drive change in not just yourself, but in your community. Your community includes your business, it includes your workspace, it includes your family and where you stay. So we thank you for coming on board, and we never forget to thank our backend team, which includes T-Bags, Kwe, Mimo, Wamboy, we have Julia. The team who keeps us in check, let me tell you how these guys keep us in check. When we go off track, they're like, yeah. When we do well, we push further. And when we're working to put programs together, it goes even better. And we do have a mix of partners, as you can see, across different fields. We do financial coaching with Zurich. Business Support Africa is also, we work together building the ecosystem. Conscious Works Consult is our mental health partner. So when we're doing activities and conversations and projects around mental health, we work with them very closely. Thai Events, the event partner. And we have Cube Innovation Hub in Eldoret, which we support businesses out there in LD, planning and training and capacity building. We also have 2 other products, Signature Products, which is Enabled, which is the adult version of how to build your business from scratch. Sprout and Scale is the teenage version, and we've deployed it through a couple of communities, and it has worked very well. So if you know a community that is looking to support their young MSMEs or aspiring entrepreneurs, let us know, and we can actually see how to partner and build our local communities. So with that, we come to the end of today's session, and we are glad that you have joined us today. We do this every Tuesday, 7 to 8 p.m. And what we do is we learn, pick up one thing that we can go and implement. So I would like to see, as we wind down, what is the one thing you are going to do? Usually Joe asks me for a parting shot. Today, mine is a question. What is the one thing you will go out to do? As you do that, let me talk about our YouTube channels. We have 2 YouTube channels, one for the African MSME Collective, and that is where you'll find our programs like the AFCFTA files, where we break down what the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is all about. And we have the Growth Edge, where we have conversations around what we need to do to grow. And that is also where we place every Tuesday session once it's done. The Akiko Stories YouTube channel is really the home of where we talk about How do we build our brand story? So it's a 360-degree brand story where brands come alive one brushstroke at a time. Those 2 channels are active, and we hope that you will find very valuable information that will help you grow. So what is the one thing you're going to do as you go away this week? I'm looking for a couple of comments. I am actually headed back to review a couple of our platforms. We're having a conversation with a friend today, and we're reviewing platforms just to ensure that we're having impact. I see leverage the platforms I am already in, build consistency there instead of being all over the place. Excellent. I love that. Somebody else, what is the one thing you're going to do? Find and stick to a consistent template and color palette for my brand on my posts on my platforms. Excellent, excellent. I would be interested to see your color palette. That would be interesting to see. One more thing somebody's doing this week. I look forward to seeing absolute growth in this space. Anyone else who is willing to share what they're going to do? Let me ask Jennifer. What are you going to do, Jennifer? If you can unmute, please unmute and tell us one thing you are going to do. If you can. All right, I think she is in a space where she cannot unmute. So thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for coming. It's been an absolutely amazing time together. It is 6 minutes past the hour, and we are grateful for all the focus and attention you've given us. See you next week, same time, same place. And please go and do that one thing that you've identified that you would do this week, and come and tell us of the impact next week. All righty. Thank you, and the Lord bless you and keep you.
Thank you.